So the transgender dilemma in America, I'm gonna talk about that. This is one of those videos I dread making because I get nasty messages from people who are mad at me. I wish I didn't have to talk about it. It's a stupid thing to have to talk about because we're talking about 1% of the population. Does it really affect anybody? No, it doesn't. Republicans need to get regular human beings to vote for them because their policies only work for the top 10% of the country in terms of wealth. So they have to find all sorts of ways to get all of you idiots who aren't in the top 10% of wealth to go vote for them. So they do that by villainizing people, by making abortion a huge issue, by making you hate everybody that isn't you, etc. So enter trans people. Trans people, there are great people talking about this. Alok, they are amazing. I don't know if I said that right, but I think trans people make some people uncomfortable. We like binary things naturally. It's like we want to be able to put you in a box. And if you're not a girl, you're not a boy, what are you? Shouldn't be an issue though, because it's so little of the population. So that's number one. This is a stupid issue the Republicans have created. However, it is pervasive, so I feel like it needs to be talked about. Number two, when you police gender, women get hurt. Notice they're not complaining about people going into boys' bathrooms, right? It's our bathrooms. It's our female athletes. So if you can only compete with girls if you have a vagina, suddenly they're going to start checking for vaginas, which hurts women. Now back to the tiny percentage, the NCAA said that there are 10 athletes that we're talking about here out of 500,000 athletes. I did the math. That is 0.002 of the population, not even a percentage. You can't even round up to a tenth of a percentage point. That is how small this group of people is. How many levers of control have the Republicans wielded using this issue, which is 10 athletes out of 500,000? Isn't that ridiculous? It is. It's very ridiculous. So it's ridiculous based on the numbers. Who cares? This is so stupid. Number two, it hurts women. Number three, the cost. If trans people make other people uncomfortable, I will be honest, I have been there. I like to know. I do like to know. In fact, I had a conversation with an advocate in the hallway at the Capitol during the redistricting battle, and they were talking about the bathroom bill in Texas. And I said, that's just so stupid. I can't even think of a time I've been in a bathroom with a trans person and even noticed. And this person said, that you know of. And I was like, oh, good point, that I know of. Later came to realize that this person was trans. I literally said, I have never even been in the bathroom with a trans person, and a trans person told me, not that you know of. Hint, hint, wink, wink, dumb girl, I am trans. No idea. No idea. That's a digression. Oh, so it's just so stupid. So maybe it makes you uncomfortable because you like being able to peg people down, or you are a bigot and it's clearly a biological male in the sink next to you. I understand you're uncomfortable. I do. I keep trying to buy a damn hula hoop because I have an illustration that I need a hula hoop for, and I can't find one anywhere. I think about personal rights, civil liberties as a hula hoop. So imagine a hula hoop. And these are my rights. Now, when my rights bang up on other people and knock their hula hoops out, they're no longer my rights anymore. Because you being uncomfortable with something does not negate that person's rights to be who they are. You're knocking their hula hoop out. The data tells us that when trans people are not able to live as their authentic selves, and maybe you don't think it's their authentic self, well, tough. Like, that doesn't matter, okay? You can't convince them that this is who they feel they are. Just like you feel that you're a certain way for a certain reason. When they are not allowed to live as their authentic selves, there is depression and suicide. There is harm. And when our society is ugly about transgender folks, like it is right now, like when there's a shooting and they're like, oh, it was a transgender shooter. It's like, oh, really? Really? It is dangerous for trans women specifically. They get attacked a lot. And that's part of the patriarchy. This whole topic is fascinating to me because we police femininity, right? You don't hear anybody whining about trans men because we don't police that, which is weird because it's the patriarchy. It's like, so these biological females are gaining all of the power of a man in a patriarchy and y'all don't care? That doesn't bother you? It would bother me. It kind of makes me jealous. Like that's why women have dressed up as men sometimes, not even being trans, just trying to, be a writer. If you're a man trying to be a woman, suddenly it really matters, how well you do your makeup, what your hair looks like, what you sound like. Everybody has an opinion about how well you're being a woman because society owns women. Society has a voice in our bodies, our appearance, our voice, everything about us. And so when men jump in trying to be women, suddenly they face all of the scrutinization that we face. It's part of the patriarchy. That's why we say the patriarchy hurts everybody, because it does. It hurts everybody. Number 4, I have researched this issue, the trans athletes in sports, because I don't accept what people tell me. And I don't watch a YouTube video. I read articles by doctors and scientists. And I read a great article here by an endocrinologist. And he basically said, it depends. He said it's a very complicated issue. The social justice issue is you should let them compete because they're trying to live their lives as who they think they are. Let's be nice. But he says, sometimes it might be unfair to biological women. Yeah, that's science and society can't really meld in this arena necessarily. He said that there should actually be different standards for different sports, which is fascinating. And he said that when someone transitions makes a huge difference. He said that testosterone specifically is what gives you the big muscle mass. You have bigger muscle mass, you're faster, you're stronger, right? That's why often boys are stronger than us. If you take hormone blockers, if you're born a biological boy, you take hormone blockers, you do not go through puberty, when you are grown, there's no huge biological difference between you and a female, according to this endocrinologist. So there's not an unfair advantage. However, if you're born a biological boy, you go through puberty, you get testosterone, you get bigger, your muscle mass is bigger, and then you go on hormone blockers. I have heard from Laverne Cox that this affects how you transition, how well you can transition. Like if you go through puberty, your voice might never be able to go back down. So you also might become stronger and therefore slightly unfair when you compete against a woman. Again, it's this question of what's fair to women, what's fair to trans people, right? And we don't need to talk about it really, because it's 10 athletes out of 500,000. It's a dumb issue to focus on. But all of those things, there's a great interview with Laverne Cox where she talks about this much more beautifully than I do about how it hurts women. But I've been thinking about this issue of turning it over my head for months, and so I just wanted to give y'all my little rundown on it. And, share it with your friends who ask you. Read yourself. It's not a lot of people. Policing gender hurts women. The cost is very high to trans people when we don't let them live out their authentic selves. And number 4, it could be unfair. It just depends on the circumstance. And perhaps science and the sports community can figure this out so that everyone is happy.